Hello and welcome to the Sandpit Startups podcast, where we explore entrepreneurship and journey into the minds of the brightest and the best founders this region has to offer. We're here to build a connection between the entrepreneurs sitting in the studio and the entrepreneurs listening at home. We sincerely hope this next 30 minutes inspires, motivates, or educates you. And if it does, you know where the follow button is.
Right. Today, our guest is Gaurav, who is the co-founder of Hamples, with a very unique concept of try before you buy. There is many stories that we will dive into today. And first of all, love the wordplay with Hamples and being happy samples. So if you could talk more about your journey and how the idea came about, the ideation stage, it would be fantastic.
Brilliant, thank you. So, interestingly, back in the days as a consultant in a digital marketing space, I was working with a lot of FMCG guys. The same question which everybody used to ask: what's beyond a click and an impression or an advertisement on social media? Is that gonna excite a customer to buy something? And our answers always used to be the same thing which any digital marketer would say: that's the best, YouTube videos, impulse. You know, at the end of the day, somebody's gonna remember your ad. It has to be on the top of the mind, all that stuff. So when our daughter was 2 years old, when I say our, so Aditi and I have been the founder. So it's primarily Aditi's brainchild.
Amazing.
So when my daughter Ada was 2 years old, we were looking for a toothpaste. And a 2-year-old creature cannot speak, right? So we had to test a lot of products. And as a habit, I used to first put that toothpaste in my mouth to see all those claims which these guys are making. And I found a lot of them are just fancy stuff.
Dubious claims, yeah.
So we got a free sample from one of the supermarkets. And we tried that and we loved it. And the idea popped in, like, why sampling is always brand initiated. If I want to try something today, I should have the luxury to go to some place to try it. If I want to buy something, there is a huge list of platforms I can go and buy. But to be able to get a free sample, all that, you need to look beautiful, you need to be lucky, right? And then if in case the seller is in the mood, she's going to offer you something for free.
Exactly.
Which often is something which she wants to give you for free, not what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the idea of happy samples, so-called Hamples, was born in. And here we are.
That's very powerful. I think really what your mindset was is like, what do I want as a consumer? And then trying to give that to the consumer rather than thinking, what can I give away or what can I offer the consumer? You flip it and it becomes so much more effective because you're literally offering exactly what they're asking for.
True.
Fantastic. So you said, obviously, your co-founder is your wife.
Yeah.
I'd love to explore that. There must be so much unpacking to do.
Many dynamics.
Yeah, right? So maybe we could just keep it short, like, how have you been able to navigate what I'm sure has been like chaotic at times and amazing at times?
Great. So this is our 6th startup together.
Wow.
Yeah, we started
Incredible.
Wow, okay.
So the first one was in 2007. So together we have sold 2 ventures, closed 1, scaled 1, and this is the 6th one.
Power couple alert.
Yeah. Goals, relationship goals.
Exactly.
So this comes with its own package, right? So she is more of a creative person and I'm more of an analytical and technology guy.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely as co-founders, our thoughts never meet, which is not supposed to. So we always have a third person to validate some of the stuff, or we divide the departments and we just let one person do it, because there is no secret sauce for any startup. There is no set rule book. So we know a lot of things are going to go bad. They're going to go wrong. Why fight for it? Let it happen. Let it go. Let's see what happens.
Be honest. Is there a secret Tinder for co-founding couples?
That could be a new idea.
I wish so.
Amazing. Usually they say, right, in terms of we look under the hood of any startup, there are 2 aspects to any venture. Fundamentally, there is the product building side, and then there is the product selling side, right? And I'm sure you would probably associate it with one side of the coin there. And is this a skill or feature that you had innately or you acquired over the years? It would be very interesting to know.
See, the only feature which we acquired over a period of time was be ready to fail. Because no product, no sales pitch is going to work in your startup. No matter where you start from, your first MVP is never going to work. Your first pitch is never going to work.
Yeah.
Maybe your 50th pitch is also not going to work. So the only thing which I learned from my first and the second startup or the third startup was keep on pivoting. Because
True.
if you are either you copy somebody from the Western world or anywhere in the Asia and this just keep on copying what they are doing, or just keep on pivoting. You will find one area or one model which is going to work.
Yes.
Right? Maybe that's a very short sighted activity that's going to work. Maybe you can amplify that. So I learned it hard ways. My last venture where we did a lot of activities building that tech.
Yeah.
Boom. Nothing is going to work. We went back to our MVP and that started working. Like, why did I spend so much money and time?
True. And there is this notion of product market fit, but there is no true product market fit, right? Every product or every project evolves over time.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, there are many iterations that take place, and there is no secret sauce.
I don't
Or-
know. Ask the master.
But someone who has been successful with the various startups. So there must be some pattern that you identify as, I would say, the principles to follow as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
which you would like to share to the viewers or the listeners.
See, you're right. There's no secret sauce for sure.
Uh-huh.
And either you should be very good at marketing. You can market any product. Even people don't know why they buy what they buy, right? You have to be a pro seller. You have to find that, or you have to show them that this is needed, and they will buy it. Otherwise, you will keep on building onto the product, and there is no buyer for it. So all the brands in the market, when we say the product market fit,
Yes.
there is a major element in between the marketing. You can have the dumbest of the product, market it well, it's going to sell. Then the market teaches you. So my only advice to all the entrepreneurs and to myself has always been, let your product go to the market. Don't find the market fit on your own, unless the customers come and tell you what they want. And in most of the cases, what we found that the customers don't know what they want. They are so overwhelmed today. There is so much content. There are so many products. There are so many things they have to do in their life that they don't know what they want. If you have bought your product yourself, if you are confident that this is needed and you can convince somebody, you're done.
That's powerful.
You're done.
Yeah.
That's deep. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned failure as a big part of the process. What I'm curious is, when it takes so long and it's so hard to get that first, like maybe initial bit of rounding or proof of concept, and things are going really hard, are there any other doubts where it's like, okay, this isn't working? Or is it just a case of you just need to keep persisting? How do you know? When do you sort of cross that line and you figure it out? Like, okay, this is or isn't working.
So there's always a calling from inside, from an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs work on their gut feel, right? So there are a lot of mentors, there are advisors. Everybody would come in to pump you up.
Yeah.
But they will always leave you with one thought, that you are the ultimate person to decide whether you want to take it forward or not. Because as an entrepreneur, every
For sure.
evening, you will be a millionaire on your Excel. Do your projection month 2nd or month 5th or month 25th. You will be a millionaire and you will think of exiting with an IPO or
A
somebody
unicorn.
buying you, or a unicorn and all those fancy names.
Yes.
But the reality is, every day when you wake up seeing this is not working, you try to quit.
Yes.
But there is one stage, where it will be a complete sure shot from inside that this is not going to work. And it will have a multiple factors attached to it. A, you don't want to do it. B, your customers don't want you to do it.
Right.
C, your team doesn't want to do it. Right? So if all these three things fall in place, then as an entrepreneur, you should evaluate what you are doing. Maybe you're doing something which is not going to go so far.
Yeah.
But if in case it's only you who's thinking of quitting, then that means it's your impulsive decision. Maybe you are bored right now. Take a break.
Yeah.
Let the
perhaps.
business run.
You're right. We do think on gut a lot, or we do just act on gut a lot, because I've got a little anecdote. Last week, I was sort of mulling over a challenge with the business. It was some internal sort of like HR type of thing. And I messaged my mentor. I'm like, we need another session, please. Let's get another session as soon as possible, which was scheduled for last Tuesday. And then I took the weekend to think about it. And by the time I was sat down with my mentor, he's like, okay, so what's the challenge we need to talk about? I'm like, I kind of already did the action. Like, I already did what I wanted to do about it.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, why did you want to talk? I'm like, I just wanted validation for what I was feeling.
Right.
it's
Closure,
not
yeah.
necessarily that I needed to ask him what to do. It was more just like, have I messed up or am I okay? Am I going forward with it? Yeah. So gut feeling is massive, I feel.
True.
Going
Yeah.
with gut feeling, right? I feel that, okay, let's take a trip down memory lane. I hear your entrepreneurial journey began probably 14 years ago in a college library, right?
Yeah.
And is this something about identifying yourself that you have the flair for entrepreneurship, or there must be like instances in the past that gave you that, okay, I'm a disruptive thinker and I'm a doer, which is a unique combination for a skill set. But most people don't realize or have self-doubt, like whether I am equipped to be an entrepreneur or not. So,
You know, the journey teaches you, the experiences teaches you. So entrepreneurship is all about risk taking.
mhm.
So because you don't know the clear path, there is no appraisal, there is
Yes.
no career movement, there is no HR, there
Mhm.
is no jump over. So, like in a corporate, so
Mhm.
it's a blessing, you know.
Yes.
So it was not a calling from inside. I would say maybe the God was merciful and
Mhm.
things happened on their own.
Serendipity.
Yeah, the first startup was more of a project to learn
Okay.
what my marketing professors are teaching. So
Yeah.
just to give a practical life to the theories which we were reading in the college as an
Mhm.
MBA student. So a small success at that time gave us some kind of a confidence. Okay, this thing works, and that was into the digital space. I think the path which we chose was the right path. It happened. So things fell in place. My second startup was a digital agency and a training academy.
Amazing.
Maybe I would say the timings were right. Both got acquired back in India in 2015.
Amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah.
We came to Dubai, and
Super.
then the journey kept on going, right? So with more experiences came in the network, came in
Mhm.
the risk-taking ability. And as an entrepreneur, you have to be shameless.
Yes.
You have to be shameless. You have to barge in. Nobody's going to give you space. You have to make your own path.
Mhm.
Maybe at times you have to be, not at times, always you have to be ready to listen to somebody smashing the phone on you. Right? So
Yeah.
that's where the shameless part and the risk taking part comes in.
And that kind of like over the years develops the relentless nature that is quite required to be an entrepreneur, especially getting a lot of rejections,
Yeah.
right? People are not used to that. And the entrepreneurial journey is the best way. And with you, I believe that the experience that you have gathered gives you that push, and also in terms of credibility, right? Because you
True.
have the experience, you have been acquired by a couple of times, which makes it much easier going down the line versus a first-time entrepreneur. And as you said, risk-taking is the only way you'll ever know or find out what you're good at and how to develop these skills.
Yeah. You
True.
get seriously thick skin from
Oh, very
entrepreneurship. I
Yeah.
learned more in my first maybe 6 months of entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
like social wise, than my entire uni experience. I was pretty in my shell at university.
Uh-huh.
I didn't go out too much and speak to too many people. After uni, I'm like, oh my God, I'm a bit of a hermit. I don't know how to speak to people. And then I went straight into doing my own thing. And after 6 months, I was like, I really need to just push through. And you do it because it's in your best interest and you're doing what you love, and you learn to be yourself. You learn to take rejection as well. So entrepreneurship, definitely thick
And
skin.
the learning curve is immense, right? You have to wear different hats.
Yeah.
And usually you're in silos when you're in a corporate. You don't have to think about the company holistically. But when you're like finally a decision maker and everything rests on you, so the pressure is high, but I feel that's like an adrenaline thing, right? It motivates you to pursue this, the concept, the passion even further.
It has its own pros and cons, right? So it's not comparable. So it's more of a personal decision and your life stage, right? Where you can take a decision of being an entrepreneur or not.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of characteristics which can be built in. Maybe your co-founder can top it up if you don't have it. But certain things
Yeah.
are inherited, right? So completely an entrepreneur, somebody with a complete skill set is never born. Entrepreneurship is always, it's an experiential journey, right? You can't
Right.
say this child is born and he's going to be an entrepreneur, no matter he's born in an entrepreneurial family,
Mhm.
right? So that's where the co-founders come in. That's where the mentors come in, and your customers teach you a lot. Your competitors teach you a lot. So we have learned a lot from our competitors, right?
So true.
It would be truthful to say that yes, there is somebody who is doing the research and all, everything. And it's just validating that, okay, you are on the right path. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not saying copy what they are doing. Even if you have taken the first step, an advisor and mentor coming and saying good job versus a competitor copying it, that means there's a validation to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you say your co-founder, i.e. your wife, has those traits that you don't.
Yeah.
Would you say that's way more beneficial than having a co-founder that's very similar to you? Because me personally, I have someone that's in my company, not a co-founder, but she's very, very useful, and she's got a completely different mind to me. She's like very analytical. I'm more a bit emotional, probably. But that I feel works really well, and maybe that's the same with your experience. What do you think?
Absolutely. So two people speaking the same language, then there is definitely there's a lot on the table that you are missing on, because there is nobody who is going to be the devil's advocate and telling you the other side.
Absolutely.
But if there are two people with different personalities altogether, the ultimate step that you take will, I would not say that will be the perfect, but you would know what's going to come in. From the positive and the negative side. So you can be a little more prepared, right? And that will give you a chance to go back and validate it with somebody. You will not be overconfident.
Yeah.
So that really kills an entrepreneurial journey when you know that, okay, I know this is going to work, but certainly not going to work.
Because you don't know what you don't know. And if you have two people on the same wavelength, it's kind of maybe narrow-minded.
It's going to be like, you're buttering each other and
you're picking each other up and you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So that's never going to happen and work in a startup journey. Yeah, maybe once you grow to the stage where you need people who can just walk on your path and you know what's the process. That's where the corporates have their SOPs.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's too early for us.
Yeah. That's right.
No, indeed.
And then you don't want people with too much friction, because then it's a
Yeah,
recipe for
decision making
disaster.
takes a toll.
Yeah.
Definitely does.
So if you're willing to share your experiences, I would love to know what maybe you can choose maybe your lowest low or your highest high throughout your career.
The lowest low certainly was the COVID stage. When we were absolutely ready to launch Hamples in February 2020 with a couple of contracts from the Gulf Food.
Amazing.
So the MVP was ready. So on papers, we were ready in November 2019. We took a couple of months to do our MVP.
Right.
The validation was done at
yeah.
Gulf Food.
Yes.
So I still remember I had 10, 12 signed contracts from the exhibitors at Gulf Food. So happy. Ended February. We thought, okay,
the
hold
Black
on.
Swan event.
Do we want to get into this right now? So it was a full, I would say, 12, 13 months of a pause, because my business is highly dependent on the third-party logistics.
Yeah.
The products coming in from the manufacturers, everything paused. So that was one stage where we
The whole
thought
supply
that we're
chain took a
not
hit.
going to launch it. Right?
That's horrendous. Everything wiped from you.
Yeah.
Just
And,
pulled from under your feet.
and there is no amount of preparation for that, right? It was a Black Swan event that nobody could prepare for.
You're right.
Absolutely. So, as a founder or as a startup, you've already pumped in your money into an MVP, or, initially 4 or 5 months of your hard work.
Yes.
And you can see that there was a market for it, and you're not very sure. That was a dicey situation. Should we just leave it, close it, dump it, or wait for it?
How did you make the decision to just pause it?
Because there was no extra cost. If you've
Right.
already done your MVP, there was a bit of a infrastructural cost, but that was not too much. Already the investment had been done. So we
Right.
thought of waiting till the renewal of our licenses and everything comes in.
Gotcha.
So because we had 6, 7 more months. So by that time, Dubai looked little better as compared to rest of the world.
They did
So we
indeed.
thought of giving it a chance.
Did you soft launch, or you just completely paused it?
We did not launch it. They did not launch it. So because
You
the
won't be
brands
able
pulled
to,
away
yeah.
from us. So nobody wanted to give free samples.
So
So there
they
was nothing
didn't-
free.
They didn't even put it on hold. They just left the table completely.
Completely. So
Wow.
we just got emails that we don't want to pursue for now. We are going to get back to you.
That's the worst. Get back to
it's-
you.
yeah,
In
and that's
Dubai,
a
that
waiting
means very little.
Yes.
Yeah.
Means otherwise.
Because there's no, if in case you had something legal binding with them, they're going to come back. Now, and seeing how things were happening, you did not even know whether the brand manager or the company would exist after 6 or 12 months, how the situation
Right. It was very
was.
sensitive then.
Yeah. But I think we believed in the idea rather than shutting everything off, because that was a cost. Shutting off is a cost. So we just let it go, let the time pass. And maybe after 6-8 months, we saw that the market is coming back. That's where we figured out our old documents of reading what we did and just started testing some features and realized, oh my God, something is broken all this while. Some subscriptions have paused, you know.
You'd be silly not to re-engage it based on the amount of proof of concept that you got. You got all these
Initially,
contracts verbally agreed.
Yeah, some of
I'm
them
sure
were signed as well.
Already, okay.
Easy.
Yeah.
So the validation was there, only the timing, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing about certain occasions where you can be prepared. Many ventures did make a lot of money during this, the time of the pandemic.
Yeah,
So to each their own, right? Some of them won with this, some of them lost.
true.
But as you mentioned, again, a unique characteristic of a good entrepreneur is to be patient, to be relentless, believe in the idea. Many people who were probably first timers would have given up, saying that maybe the timing is not right. The opportunity cost, right? You as a person would know that if I work in, let's say, an XYZ corporate company, I would be earning this much, and this is the time I'm losing. I could have that in the bank account. Rather now, it's the reverse. I'm burning money in order to keep this afloat.
True. You know, one thing, because we already had a training academy. So this Hamples as a venture was a parallel business that we started in November.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden came COVID. The demand of digital training went boom. So
Through the
everybody
roof.
wanted to learn digital.
Yeah.
So
Seriously.
my team, which was developing my MVP, we hired that team back in India. And we saw that a lot of businesses we were coaching, they came to us and said, do the e-commerce for me right now. I am willing to pay you. So we just converted all our team into the service providers, made
really
money out
smart.
of it.
Yeah.
That was another reason we did not scrap completely, because you have the team, you have the demand, and it's all about the time.
And how much of that team actually went back to Hamples afterwards?
Everybody.
Really?
Yeah, we
So-
did not fire anybody.
It's a super transition.
No, I just meant maybe they stayed with the training business.
No. So we paused Hamples, and all my techies,
Yeah.
they were used to develop e-commerce platforms for the corporates who
Right.
wanted
Right.
immediate solution. So we developed, within 3 months, we developed 30 plus e-commerces for brands from Alshaya, right? So during COVID time, anything which you saw from Boots, Body Shop, Muji was developed by us, maintained, managed. So we converted something into an opportunity, but not the actual business why we hired those guys for, right?
It's all about adapting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a super example of how you can make use of your internal resources and still utilize it to optimum capacity.
True. So that's what entrepreneurship teaches you. Your decisions have to be super fast because
Thinking on the feet.
you get just one chance. You leave it, you're gone,
Yeah.
right? So there is nobody knocking your door again because that's the only chance you have. So we had to jump on it. Good part that we did not launch Hamples at that time. Not
Why
even a
is that-
single day.
why is
People
that
did
good?
not know.
Keep it in the dark.
Yeah,
Yes.
because people did not know. Even because that was a time
It's better to
when
park the idea then.
sampling was super needed. Anybody who had the power of the logistics and the money would have taken it.
Yeah. So you say it was your worst moment, but it could have been worse.
It could have been even worse,
Yeah.
right? So it was disheartening because when you are absolutely ready for something and you have to pull back and you have to restart the engine, it brings in a lot of discomfort.
Yeah.
So the decision of should we not, there's a lot of negativity around it. But the minute we thought of, yes, we should, that was the final moment.
If we have to talk about highs, right? Usually for an entrepreneur, the dream is to get funded, or to get acquired, and you have had experiences with both of them. So it would be interesting to know your take in terms of mostly people start a venture keeping in mind to make money, right? Which shouldn't be the end game, I believe. It's about the why and the product first. But as you've been there, done that, would love your insights on that.
Okay, so there have been a couple of highs. I will be very true, We live on very short successes as an entrepreneur. The first one was we launched the platform, I remember 5th May 2021.
Okay.
That was around Ramadan and Eid period. So being very conservative, we just got few boxes printed. And we just opened the platform, spread the word in our network on LinkedIn, on social media or something. We got 500 orders. Wow. I was not prepared with the boxes. It was Eid, Ramadan,
Mhm.
half days to the logistics teams were not in place. The customer support was not in
Chaos.
place to handle all this kiosk.
Yeah.
That was a ultimate high. I remember staying in the warehouse a full night, just packing boxes on my own. It was laborious, but that was, a happy laborious experience. That
Sweet
was the
pain.
first high.
It's
Yeah.
funny that you say the highest high was something actually which was without context, a pretty miserable thing to do.
Yes.
But it's the context that just gives it that joyful, like,
Yeah.
I'm here for a really nice reason.
Yeah, because in our head we had kind of shut the venture for
Mhm.
once.
Mhm.
But when we launched it, we saw so much love coming in from the customers. So that made us that proved that the decision of launching was right. That's number one. The second high was to one of our contacts. We just said we launched this sampling business and we need some samples, right? As a brand, we went with a freemium model.
Mhm.
And this lady was super kind. She said, okay, I'm going to give you the first lot of samples and see how it goes. And I got a call from the warehouse that there's a big trolley, the big trailers
Uh-huh.
of samples. There were 250,000 products.
Incredible. Incredible.
And I had to rush from my house to click photograph. That's number one.
That's a
I
lot of
still have
boxes to pack, by the way.
Yeah.
So those are number of samples that came in from one single brand, and that's
save you.
courtesy, the reputation, and I would say the God's grace that people trusted that as a startup we are gonna do something and this business is needed. So that proved the model second time that the brands also need it.
You could have
Yes.
just had a lifetime supply of shampoo and then run away with it. Could have just closed
Live the
it
life.
there.
Exactly. Made a, like a, the Uncle Cruise. I could have just swam in the shampoo.
Shampoos, oh yeah.
Nah. So that was a very emotional moment to see how brands literally trust. We had always seen those big warehouses, so definitely that was a cost for us because we were not ready to store all those products. It were immediate decisions, but yes, that gave us a big push to get in more products and more brands.
Wow.
Definitely funding and everything was there.
Yeah, that's
That's
close
a,
second.
yeah, that's a close second.
But
For
that's
many, it's a high point.
Yeah.
So I'll be probably looking forward to that unlimited supply of shampoo, especially for my hair. So in case you have extra spares in that warehouse of yours, count me up.
Sure, baby, come to Hamples.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Done deal. Happy sampling, guys.
Amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in to this podcast. It was nice of Gaurav to be here and to share his journey. We look forward to having you on more such podcasts where we'll have inspiring entrepreneurs talking about their journey.
And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit the follow button and share it with anybody you think it would bring value to.
Until then, Sandpit Startups.